Yes, you are welcome, my friends. I waited for a while. Maybe may have more people in the classroom, but in fact, we have more than regular amount of people. I have three people in the classroom at the same time. So this is more than the regular amount. So unfortunately, I cannot see all the people online when I have the course. I don't know if it is because of me. You can also you can say to me, you can notice to me, if you have this course this way, we will be more willingful to attend the classroom. But nobody says gives me any feedback about it. That's why I try to do my best for you. If it is enjoyed by you, it's okay. If it is not, it's also okay. But without any feedback, I will go on my way in this way. So there is no other option because we are just able to give this course from this screen, and it is very limited within this screen. So if there is no interaction, there is no feedback, then it is going to be happen in this way. Okay, this is the financial literacy course, and we are, I think, in the 11th week of the semester, maybe the 12th one. So we will go on with that topic, which is about the fraud and risk awareness, my dear friends. So this is also necessary for all individuals uh, to understand the risk in the financial market. Okay, but as being a finance professional people, we mainly, how do you say, make the financial risk management in a way of professional way. So we do, how to say, sophisticated calculations. Okay, so we make a very comprehensive way of the financial risk management. But here, as this course is in the name of the financial literacy, as we our aim is more to give more awareness to the how do you say to the general people who are not, how do you say, have an aim of being a finance person. That's why here also I want to give you more awareness for the at the individual level, which way a person should be more aware of getting aware of the risk of fraud and the risk of, how do you say, preserving their savings, risk related with the making investment, and etc. Okay, so let's move on with the rest of the presentation. Uh, so as I said to you, in this week we are going to study financial fraud and the risk awareness. We will make the definition of the fraud and the financial scams. So differences here are theft versus fraud. So we will check the Ponzi, phishing, insider trading, and the prevention and the protection of the strategies, role of regulation and the consumer education will also be the topics we are going to study. So let's say that we can give a title to this week, this say course, financial fraud, risk awareness, understanding and identifying and preventing the scams. So we will cover the definition of the fraud and the financial scams, key differences between theft and the fraud, and the common fraud types and the schemes, prevention and the protection strategies, role of regulation and the consumer education, and building financial resilience will also be the content of this week, my friends. So, uh, first of all, we have to understand the landscape. We have to understand what is the fraud, what does fraud means. So the financial fraud is a deceptive practice that includes individuals to make financial decisions based on false information, resulting in monetary losses for victims and the gains of the perpetrators. So here, when we talk about the financial fraud, we should consider that there is a misleading. So, for example, if someone who has the control or who gained the control of the financial transaction, and when that person move that or direct that financial transaction in benefit of himself or herself, without considering the rights of the parties of that financial transaction or whatever it is. So if something happens out of consent, out of desire of the parties of that the financial event, and if somebody mislead it for their own benefit in an illegal way, then okay, we are talking about the fraud, my friends. So there are statistics about the billions of dollars lost annually to fraud. There is a growing threat with digital transformation and affects individuals, business, and the institutions. So as the things gets more digitalized, then the risk and also way of the fraud is changing based on the digital technologies, my dear friends. So, for instance, we talk about the uh, we talk about the hackers. Those hackers are trying to, we'll say, infiltrate to the systems of the others, uh, change the data in order to, they say, remove the digital assets from one account to another account for their own benefits. So this is becoming more available from a distance location, because if a computer is connected to an internet, so there is anyway an access to that computer. So if that access is available, so those hackers may find a way to get into the data of that computer. So this there's always some attacks to happen this way. We know about this, but meanwhile, the systems has some protections, has some of the say protective of the say systems within themselves. So this way, it's getting more manageable. But anyway, it's a risk in this modern world where the things are getting more digitalized. So what is the legal definition of the fraud? Fraud is obtaining something of value through willful misrepresentation, deception, or manipulation intended to achieve financial gain, my friend. So you may do the explanation of the fraud in different way. So, okay, this is one of the legal definition. It is more, they say, strict or more, I would say, judicial way of the explanation it is. So it says that's why fraud is obtaining something of value through willful misrepresentation, and deception or manipulation. If one of these happens, misrepresentation, deception, manipulation happens, which has an intention to achieve financial gain. So this gain is achieved by the person who is who wants to have an advantage from this situation, but this advantage is not exactly the right of that person. So here there are some core elements of the fraud: intentional deception, false representation of the facts, victim reliance of false information, and resulting in financial loss may happen. Intentional deception, it may be. False representation, it may be. Victim reliance on false information may also happen, resulting in financial loss. So, in fact, these all must happen at the same time in the case where we are talking about the fraud, my friends. So this is to be able to, I would say, identify what is fraud. is helpful for us to understand the cases, if that one is real a fraud or not. And also, this is good for the law department students who are dealing with the judicial systems and who needs to exactly define what is fraud or not because of their businesses as well. So, what are the financial scams, my friends? Let's try to understand this. Financial scams. Scam definition here is according to the Federal Reserve Scam Classifier Model, scam involves the use of deception or manipulation intended to achieve financial gain. Okay, here, deception and manipulation applied, and the aim is again, which way you say, to achieve financial gain, my friends. So here the targets as unsuspected victims. Characteristics of the scam is targets unsuspecting victims, uses psychological manipulation, exploits trust and urgency, result in voluntary but deceived payments. Voluntary but deceived payments. Okay, the person is voluntary to pay that amount, but that person is deceived, and here is that person's trust is exploited, and psychological manipulation. How do you say, he or she is under the psychological manipulation, abused this way, and targets are the unsuspected victims, my dear friends. So when it happens in this way, this way we call it scam. And also the fraud and the scheming is in fact very similar, but when we talk about the fraud, there's more systematic way. It may happen through the systems, but here when we talk about the scamming, then the victim is psychologically influenced, and the victim do the things by voluntary because of the influence of the how do you say, emotions and the psychological manipulation. So, okay, which way the evaluation? Let's look at the evaluation of the financial fraud, historical context to the modern threats. Let's check. Here you see when it was in 1920s, Charles Ponzi's investment scheme. How do you say? People and the world get aware of the Charles Ponzi's investment schemes, and that's why we are talking about the Ponzi fraud, Ponzi scheming. So in 1980s and the 1990s, the telemarketing fraud became more apparent. So when it was the 2000, internet and email scams became more common. So when it is 2010s, social media and mobile fraud became more common. And in 1920s, AI-powered and the cryptocurrency scams became more apparent, let's say. So technology has accelerated both the scale and sophistication of the fraud. As you understand, after the Ponzi's, then always technology is on the scale, on the, how to say, the agenda. With telemarketing is a technological environment. Internet is a technological environment. Social media is an internet technological environment, and AI and the cryptocurrencies are also technological environments. So, okay, you can say that there isn't there any fraud without technology? Yes, there is. So still, people are under the threat against the under the threat of the fraud and scheming without technology as well. So we can have many examples of this in the streets. Even the beggars, for instance, in the streets are scheming us because they are asking for money, even they don't need that money, my friends. So we have to be able to understand the differences between theft and the fraud as well. Here are the key differences. So let's try to understand the distinctions. What is theft? Theft is direct taking of the property without consent. So when a thief directly take the property of someone without the consent of the owner of that property, then okay, we are talking about the theft. So in it also, when it is theft, there should be no deception involved. Okay, people is not decepted, not convinced, not to say previous how to say deceptive reactions happens. Just the thief goes and takes the attack and take the property of the others. So here the victims are aware of the loss immediately when it is theft. For example, pickpocketing and burglary are the examples for the theft. When it is fraud, let's try to understand the fraud. Fraud is deception used to obtain the property here when we talk about the fraud. And the victim voluntarily transfer the assets, and also loss may not be immediately apparent. As an example, investment scams and identity theft may be example to do fraud also. So let's try to understand the different legal frameworks. So theft prosecution, criminal charges for the larceny focus on the unauthorized taking and the burden of proof on the possession. So when it is fraud prosecution, then it requires providing intent to deceive, must demonstrate false representations, and more complex evidence requirements happens in the fraud, and often involves securities laws and the regulations, my dear friends. So that's this way this also help you to understand the differences between fraud and the theft. So let's check it from the impact, from the perspective of the impact on the victims. Theft victims, immediate awareness of the loss and clear criminal act and straightforward reporting processes happens when it is theft. When it is fraud, then the victims may not realize victimization immediately. So the event may happen, but the victim may not be aware what happened suddenly at the time when the action is taken. So it may often feel embarrassment or shame, and complex recovery processes may happen, and psychological manipulation may be involved as well. So this is about the fraud victims. Yes, the recovery may take a longer time, and psychological manipulation may also be involved when it is fraud. So securities fraud is, as we are told, studying the financial literacy. That's why we have to be more focused on the securities fraud. So the securities fraud is a deceptive practice in stock or commodities market that includes investors to make purchase or sale decisions based on false information. Securities fraud is a deceptive practice in stock or commodities markets that includes investors to make purchase or sale decisions based on false information, my dear friends. So it includes stock manipulation, includes misstatements on financial reports, includes insider trading, includes embezzlement, by stock brokers and includes lying to the corporate auditors. So we are very commonly comes up with this situation, unfortunately. Okay, in Turkey, in other worlds, especially in social media, especially in the X platform, the old name is the Twitter, there are many accounts trying to promote definite stocks, definite securities, and trying to influence the people's investment decisions in a way uh, according to their own benefit. But okay, this is forbidden. This is a guilty. It's a guilt, and also it is not acceptable. So they just say that this is not a investment, which way yatırım tavsiyesi değildir. This is not a investment suggestion. So they think that as long as they say this is not a investment suggestion, yatırım tavsiyesi değildir, then they think that they are out of their responsibilities. In fact, they are. So even the people say that these securities will go up, these securities will go down. So there should be an authorization to be able to do this. Okay, you can make some analysis, you can show some analysis results, and even you do this way, then you should also disclose that this is an analysis only. I have these methods and I applied these and these methods at the end of the analysis of the stock, whatever it is, and I come up with such and such conclusion. So by this way, it is becoming more acceptable. But otherwise, when someone says that I have some information, I have some insider information, and so I think you are more able to understand what I mean. But this is not true. This is a fraud, in fact. And also, it's also can be considered a scheming, also scamming, let's say. So there are very common fraud types. Let's check them because when we get more aware of the types of the fraud, then it's gonna be more better for ourselves to identify the fraud. To say attacks happens against ourselves. So the Ponzi schemes, the classical investment fraud, it is. A Ponzi scheme is a fraudulent investment operation that pays returns to earlier investors using funds from more recent investors rather than from actual profits. So it's named after Charles Ponzi, who experienced it in 1920s and promises high returns with little to no risk. Reality, no legitimate underlying investment. So imagine I'm the Ponzi. I wish I'm not, in fact. So I'm asking to the people, if you invest your monies to me, I'm going to provide you a return much more than the returns you can get from the financial market, and it has no risk. I have the guarantee to get this return back to you. Okay, I start with 10 people. I have another 10 investors, but I always collect the money from those how do you say investors who joined the system at the later time. Then the money I collected from the latest investors, and I share some of them to the earliest investors. Then the earlier investors get some money, and they say, "Oh, this is so good. We are able to get a return from our investment. It is higher than the other alternative investments in the markets." They enjoy the situation, and these enjoyment also make a advertisement, make it more popular. They talk to the others. We have such a how to say, investment opportunity, and we are getting such and such returns. When the others heard about this, they also wants to join that how to say, opportunity, that investment. So more and more people involves to these Ponzi schemes. So then finally the system blow up, and the people understand this, it was not real. So Ponzi schemes, how they work? Okay, I try to explain it to you, but here there is a written steps. Let's check them together. The mechanics of the deception. Step one: promoter promises high returns, often 10 to 20% monthly. So in the dollar or euro basis, imagine when you have a 10 or 20 return, 20% of return over your dollar or euro amounts, it's quite high. But when you consider it in the Turkish lira, okay, because of the inflation, 10 to 20% return from a Turkish lira investment is not acceptable because of the inflation, but it is much more acceptable when it is a euro or dollar investment. So the step two is early investors receive promised returns, and step three is the early investors reinvest and they recruit others, and step four is the new investor money pays returns to earlier investors. At the step five, scheme collapses when new investments slow down, and at the step six, most investors lose their monies. So the most it says, because the investors lately joined, provide the money to the earlier investors, but when the system fall down, blow up, then some of them may have the opportunity to keep the monies, but the most of them will not have that opportunity to keep the money for themselves. So this is the Ponzi scheming, or Ponzi way of the scamming. So this may give you an idea. I hope no one of you will be convinced or deceived by another application of the Ponzi scheming. So what are the red flags here? Let's check this. There's a warning signs to watch for. There's guaranteed high investment returns with little or no risk. So if someone says to that, okay, there is a guarantee of high investment returns and there's no risk, then you should stop and think, oh, is this real? Is this can be true? Can this be true? Or you have to be more careful when you have this kind of promotion. So overly consistent returns regardless of the market conditions. So if the market goes down, but if you are still able to have return from the investment, then you should also rethink about it. And also unregistered investment with regulatory bodies. So if you are forced to make a unregistered investment without control of the regulatory bodies. For example, in Turkey, we have capital market board, we have banking regulation agency. So if none of these is not the get the, how to say, provided the registration to the investments you do, then you should rethink about it. So if there is unlicensed sellers or the advisors, because in Turkey, there's a capital market board licensing. It is a must for the people who are making how to say, the portfolio management. So those people who are asking your savings to make investment for yourself, then you have to check if that person has the capital market board's licensing, investment portfolio management licensing. So the secretive or overly complex investment strategies should make you rethink about it. Issues with paperwork or account statements, you should check them. difficulty receiving payments or the cashing out, then it is a sign to understand this is a warning. So pressure to roll over investments at maturity. So it means that okay, you arrive to the maturity of your investment, and when you once say repayment, then if they are asking that, okay, please do not have the repayment, keep your money, let's have another term. You will have much more better returns if they behave this way. Then it is also most probably a situation of the Ponzi schemes. So let's move on. Ponzi schemes, famous examples. Okay, the most famous one happened in 2020 by the Charles Ponzi. That's why it is called Ponzi schemes, which way it is pronounced, I'm not sure. So it's promised 40% returns in 90 days, claimed profits from postal replay coupons, and took in $10 million from 30,000 investors. And the scheme collapsed after 7 months. So there's another one, Barney Madoff. It happened in 2008, largest Ponzi scheme in the history, and 65 billion in claimed account balances, operated for decades before collapse, exposed during 2008 financial crisis. So, okay, the financial crisis of the 2008 was a big clash in the financial market. The Barney was able to manage this Ponzi scheme until that time, but when the things get worse in the market, so most probably because of the conditions in the market, because of the crisis conditions in the market, then it became understandable by the people. This is a Ponzi scheme, so it's not a real investment. So there are some contemporary adaptations. Cryptocurrency Ponzi schemes may also available, and there are the examples of these. They promise high returns from crypto trading, use blockchain technology to appear legitimate, and difficult to trace and recover funds, my friends. When someone asks you your money for a high return in the cryptocurrency market, and if you are really don't know who those people are, then you have to think. In fact, you should imagine to say no, but instead of thinking again. So this is the situation you have to consider. There's a high yield investment programs also. So advertise online with professional websites, promise extraordinary returns, often disappear quickly with investor funds. Also, high yield investment programs may also be a risk for yourself. There is pyramid schemes also. This is somehow different than the Ponzi, but here maybe I can give a break. But let me check. There's phishing. Okay, there's phishing red flags. Social engineering, common fraud type, insider trading, how it's okay. Yes, I'm checking which topics we are going to study in this week. Okay, we will look at the prevention strategies also. Okay, here at this point, it may be good to have a break. Then we can continue after the break. If you have any question, I can answer. Otherwise, let's have a 15 minutes break. Okay, my dear friends, I'm back and we can continue with the rest of the presentation. Yes. So pyramid schemes, sorry. Yes. Pyramid schemes is the other, to say, scheming type. So let's review this one as well. Pyramid schemes require participation to recruit others to earn returns, while Ponzi schemes don't necessarily require the recruitment. So here the structure is there should be a participants pay to join, earn money by recruiting new members, and new members fees pay earlier participants, and unsustainable mathematical model applied, and majority of the participants lose monies. So pyramid schemes require participations, as I said to you. Okay, Ponzi was also requiring participation, but here it's how do you say, enforce you to invite more participants to the system. So as much as participants you invite and as much as participants became member by the invitation of yourself, then that much return is how do you say, uh, opportunity you got or the promise you got, let's say. But in the end, when the system blow up, break down, then you are also the loser. So as it says, the pyramid schemes requires participants to recruit others to earn returns, while Ponzi schemes don't necessarily require recruitment. So this is the main differences between Ponzi and the pyramid. So again, let's check. The participants pay to join, earn money by recruiting new members, and new member fees pay earlier participants. Unsustainable mathematical model applied. Majority of the participants lose money by difference. So let's check the phishing. Phishing is another type of the fraud. Here it is digital deception way. So here the definition: phishing is a cybercrime where fraudulent emails, messages, or website tricks victims into disclosing sensitive personal and financial information, my dear friends. So there are some common forms: email phishing, SMS phishing, voice phishing, and social media phishing. So it may be in different way, different opportunities or of the in technology is used. Uh, that's why the tactics may are mainly depends on the which technology they are using. So that's why when it is deception happens through email, then we talk about the email phishing. When it is happens through SMS, then we talk about SMS phishing, and it may be voice way because they may call you by phone, and then uh, yes, sorry. So as I said to you, which way of the technology is used accordingly, the system tactics and the methods differentiate, and also the description is also differentiating. So how the phishing works, let's try to understand it in a better way. At the step one, scammer sends fraudulent commitment uh, here. So at the first step, scammer sends fraudulent commitment. Okay. So at the step two, message appears to be from trusted source, like such as from a bank or employer. At the step three, it creates sense of urgency or fear for the victim. So at the step four, directs victim to fake website or request information. At the step five, victim provides sensitive data, passwords, account numbers, and etc. And at the step six, scammer uses information or fraud or identity theft. Scammer uses information for fraud or identity theft. It happens. Uh, so here in our daily life, my friends, maybe we are very commonly come up with this kind of phishings. So we may have lots of emails, lots of messages. So I do have, in fact, for example, the online gambling or the lotteries or the memberships or different way of the emails, different contents of the emails, which has the phishing purposes, reach to our mailboxes or message boxes. So maybe you are the ones are able to understand which is for the phishing purposes, which is the real one or etc. So the modern life make us more how to say competent to understand or defend ourselves against this kind of risk, but still there is some risk for ourselves. So sometimes some emails arrives in a way that they are very corporate emails and they are from the websites that you use. So if you don't become careful enough, so it is so easy to be victim for this kind of attack. So, but here I try to give you more understanding which way the system is working, which steps are taken to create a phishing and to be able to say which way they are convincing or deceiving the people. So how to identify the phishing? So that's the case. In fact, what is I'm trying to highlight more. There is urgent or threatening language. So if an email comes to you, okay, you are losing the chance, you have to click on it as soon as possible. Otherwise, it's gonna be this way, blah blah. So then you have to be very careful, think about it silently, and most probably it's gonna be it is the phishing effort. So the request for the sensitive information via email. So if and sensitive information about your passwords, about your identity, ask by an email, then you have to be careful what is the source of that email. So in many cases, the passwords and the identity informations are not much asked by the email. So if it is asked by that way, you have to be very careful about it. So there should be some suspicious sender email addresses, general greetings, dear customers. So for example, if it is starts by the way of the dear customers, then you have to be to say careful about it. If it is a issue related with you, if the bank deliberately send an email to you, then the email should start with a salutation with your own name instead of a general greeting. So that's another point we have to be careful when we read it this way. Poor grammar and spelling errors may happen because in many cases the phishing emails are translated by the some machines, or sometimes they are obviously less educated people. That's why they are not much able to prepare a corporate way of the email. That's why they are very bad at the sentences they use in their text. That's maybe another how to say identification how to say for the phishing. So mismatched or suspicious URLs. So the trusted URL or URL should start with the HTTP, and also it should goes with the www blah blah. So the slashes should be in the correct way. So this is also the should be the point we have to be careful about. Okay, in many systems, for example, I'm working in this university, and when I try to open a website which is not safe, then the system notices me, says that this website is not trustable. So you have to be careful. Are you really sure to open this website? These kind of notices can also be provided from where you are getting in the internet as well. So some unexpected attachments may also be attached to the emails. So if, for example, if that attachment has an exe of the format, in the format of the exe, so then you have to be careful. For example, it may be written blah blah dot exe. So you should understand that it's a programming of the say software tool. So when you run that exe file, then it may how to say create a program, and it may hack the information in your computer. That's why the exe files attached to the emails should be very, very carefully how to say treated. So if, for example, you receive an email from a source, you have no idea about it, and if that email includes an exe file, then you should immediately erase it, or you should inform the system manager, IT department, I had such an email, it may be harmful, so they know which way they have to treat to that emails, and maybe they will get more to say preventive actions in the servers and the system of your corporation. But as being the individual users, we have to be careful also about this kind of emails. So too good to be true for others. Too good to be true for the others. When I have to say they treat you in very good way, more than too good to be too good, more good than the regular way, the usual way, then you have to be careful about it. So phishing, real-world examples may happen. There are some common phishing scenarios happen. Bank account verification. So you may have such a message: your account has been compromised. Click here to verify your information immediately. Be careful about these kind of messages. You owe back taxes, pay immediately to avoid arrest. You have to be very careful. Package delivery. Your package cannot be delivered. Update your address and the payment information. You have to be very careful. Technical support. Your computer has a virus. Call this number for immediate assistance. You should be careful. So we can count many examples in this kind. So here, to be able to sure about the message, the sender, you should know from which source that email arrived. So before, for example, if they give you a number, call this number for blah blah. So copy that number, check it from the Google, and also put the number in the search box and ask that if this number is fraudulent, if this number is for fraud, scamming, or which way. So most probably that number was already being used, and there are some notices in different sources in the internet which gives you more information about that number, that webmail or web address. So at least you can do this. So you can do more search, but in many cases you become very aware that, okay, this website, this number is for fraudulent activities. So then you can immediately understand this is a phishing, this is a bad purpose. So then you can immediately say no or reject or erase the email, which messages you have. So there is social engineering psychology of fraud. Social engineering, the psychology of the fraud. So social engineering involves manipulation people into divulging confidential information or performing actions that compromise security. So when it has happened this way, which tactics are used? Authority, impersonating officials, urgency, creating time pressure, threatening consequences, promising rewards, and building relationships. So these are the tactics of the social engineering fraud. So there's another one which is called insider trading. This is also very, how do you say, harmful for the transparency and for the trust in the capital market, especially. So this is an illegal market advantage. Here the definition is that insider trading occurs when individuals trade stocks using confidential, non-public information about a company, giving them an unfair market advantage. Insider trading occurs when individuals trade stocks using confidential, non-public information about a company, giving them an unfair market advantage. So two types may have be available. One is the legal one, corporate insiders trading with proper disclosure, and the illegal one is trading based on material non-public information. So my friends, for example, there is a company which company stocks are available in the stock exchange, and if you know about that company, if you know about the projects or investment or something which is important for the investor. So, for example, there's an information. When this information is known by the investors, and all the investors potentially will react to this situation, they will either buy the stock of that company or will resell the stock of that company when that information arrives to the investors. But if you are the ones learning this information from the people inside of that company, which knows because that company is in this issue and the people working in this company knows this reality, and if they share this reality to the people, to the definite people out of the company as who are the investors of the company, and if those people take advantage of this information and react and take position according to the information they got, this is called insider trading, and this is guilt. This is not acceptable, and it is subject to the penalty. And you should also know, for example, you may be the one holding that stock, but you may be the one who is not shared with that information, and the others got that information, insider tradings, others do the insider tradings, and you get disadvantage of the situation because of the insider trading activities for the others. So as you get the damage, as you get the loss because of this situation, then it is needed to protect your right. That's why insider trading is harmful and it is not acceptable. It is not supported. So, how insider trading violates the law? What is the legal framework about it? So, why it is illegal? Because undermines the market integrity, creates unfair advantage, as I tried to explain it to you, and violates the fiduciary duty and damage the investor confidence as well. So, who can be the liable? So The corporate executives and the employees and board members and family members and the friends, professional advisors, lawyers, accountants. So these may be the suspicious one who are suspicious, let's say, ones who may provide disinformation to the people outside of the company and become the reason, become the to say guilt of the insider trading. So there are some notable cases in the history. Martha Stewart in 2004 sold stock based on non-public information and avoided $45,000 in losses and convicted of obstruction of justice and served 5 months in prison. Rajaratnam in 2011, hedge fund manager, made 75 million from insider trading and sentenced to the 11 years in prison. It is the largest hedge fund insider trading case in the history. So another way of the I would say phishing or the fraud is the identity theft, my friends. Identity theft. Your username and your passwords. So when these are, how do you say, learned by the bad people, so then it causes bad results. So okay, I'm trying to highlight it as I am kidding. I'm playing as like a kid. So okay, sorry about it. So stealing the personal information. So this is called identity theft. So let's identify it. Identity theft occurs when scammers steal personal information such as social security numbers, credit card details, bank account information to commit fraud. So when this information is stealed to commit fraud, then we are talking about the identity theft. So what are the common uses? Opening fraudulent accounts, making unauthorized purchases, filing false tax returns, obtaining medical services, committing crimes in victim's name. So when the identity theft, so the common uses may be in this way. Some fraudulent accounts may be opened, and also some fraudulent activities may be carried out based on your identity. So some unauthorized purchases may happen. Some filing false tax returns may happen. Obtaining medical services may happen. Committing crimes in victim's name may happen. So these are the possibilities, bad lucks for the victims when their identities are stealed by the fraudulent people. So what are the identity theft methods? How criminals obtain these informations? They do data breaches at companies. They do phishing and the social engineering. They do mail theft. They do dumpster diving. They do skimming devices on ATMs. They do public Wi-Fi interception. They do social media mining. They do dark web purchases also. So you can add more way of the more criminal way to obtain the identities of the people. These are the most common ones we already know, but they may invite a new method. So that's why we have to be always careful, and we have to develop our awareness about these risks, my dear friends. So there is synthetic identity fraud. This is a growing threat. So here it is the definition of this situation. In some cases, the criminals create fake identities by combining real and fabricated information. So often using legitimate social security numbers with false names and addresses, my dear friends. So the criminals create fake identities by combining real and fabricated information, real and fabricated ones together, used often using, so the social security numbers are mainly used. Okay, this is social security numbers are very important in the U.S. citizens, but in our system, we have the Turkish citizenship identity numbers we use. It is quite similar one with the social security numbers, but okay, some others may know your social security number or the Turkish citizenship numbers. This is not enough for the schemers to to steal from you, to theft from you, because these numbers should be confirmed by some other secondary confirmations. For example, okay, when you want to log into a definite account, same account ask you send you an email or sends you a code to your phone. So when you code that number to the system, then you become able to get into the system and etc. So because in this case the schemers should also possess your cell phone. So but sometimes okay, the this is the new information. Sometimes the which way you say the cards of the cell phones can also be copied by the schemers. So, for example, schemers knows your username, password, Turkish citizenship identity. Okay, they are very ready to get on a definite platform to run a stealing activity, but they need to have access to your cell phone. Even they don't have your cell phone, they don't possess your cell phone, they can copy your SIM card and they can create a copy of your phone, access to into another phone, and the message, the confirmation message, which is needed to be received when you enter a definite platform, may arrive to the SIM card they copied, and then they become able to confirm their entrance to the systems. And this may be the bank account, this may be the another account which has the access, which has the opportunity to transfer the monies or the wealth you have to from one account to another account. So we started to heard about this, but as this become available, then the cell phone operation systems and the banks started to make another collaboration in order to prevent these kind of activities. So, but anyway, we need to know what's happening. So as we know what's happening, what's possible, then we become more aware, and this awareness gives us more opportunity to protect ourselves. That's why I'm trying to make these explanations to you. So why it is dangerous, difficult to detect, can take years to discover, and estimated 3 billion in losses for lenders, and victims may not know their SSN is comprised, and damages credit of the legitimate SSN holders. My dear. So yes, as the technology develops, the theft also develop themselves, the hackers develop themselves. They try to find out the new ways to make these scheming activities. So there's another fraud, investment fraud. False investment opportunities may be created. What are the common types? Okay, Ponzi and the pyramid schemes, pump and dump schemes, promissory note fraud, affinity fraud, advance free fraud, cryptocurrency scams. It happens. What are the red flag? Guaranteed returns, get rich quick promises, pressure to investment immediately, unregistered investments, or the sellers. So pump and dump scams, which way it happens? It happens in the stock market. It happens in the way of the stock market manipulation. Let's check the steps. Which steps are taken when the pump and dump schemes are applied? At the step one, fraudsters buy a large quantities of low-priced stocks. Fraudsters buy a large quantities of low-priced stocks. At the step three, spread false positive information. They make pump ups for that stocks when they buy it in the lower price. At the step three, stock prices rise as the others buy. At step four, fraudsters sell their shares at inflated price. Then the dump happens. So step five, stock prices crashes. At the step six, later investors lose money, and modern platforms, social media, chat rooms, and email blast may happen. So this is pump and dump scheming. So they buy a cheap stock, they promote that stock, and its price goes up. When its price goes up, then they start to sell it, and they got the profit, and the others lose from this situation. So there's micro cap fraud, small company scams. Here the fraud involves stocks of the small companies under 250 million market capitalization, often penny stocks trading for less than $5 per share. Here the characteristic is that thinly traded stocks, limited public information, easy to manipulate the prices, often involves pump and dump scams, and estimated 1 to 3 billion annual losses may happen. So as the small companies, tiny companies, has limited amount of stocks in the stock exchange. So those people who has enough funds to buy a large amount of stocks of a definite companies, then they become more able to do this kind of manipulation. So yeah, for example, you may not be able to buy the larger stock of the Apple company because it's very large, and also the uh, the stock price is not more available for the fraudulent activities. Uh, there is another let's say romance scams. Romance scams are exploiting emotions. How they work, my friends? Scammers create fake online profile, builds romantic relationship with victims, and gains trust over weeks or months, and creates emergency requiring money, and requests wire transfers or gift cards, and disappears after receiving funds, my dear friends. So here the warning signs are: the professes low quickly and never meets in person, and has emergency required money, and ask for financial help, my dear friends. So okay, emotionally they try to create a tide, and when that tide happens, when that emotions of this runs, and people get blind because of their emotions, then they started to make their operations to say to receive money, to scheme the money of the victim. So there's grandparent scams. So here the threatening the seniors may happens in this way. Here the criminals call elderly victims pretending to be a grandchild in trouble, requesting immediate money for bail, medical bills, or other emergencies. So here the tactics are: create urgency and the panic, request secrecy, don't tell mom and dad, and demands wire transfers or gift cards, and may impersonate police, or lawyers. So the prevention happens, verify by calling known family member and ask questions on the real grandchild would know, and don't act on urgency alone. So, okay, you are not the grandfathers, grandparents. You may not be in this condition, but your grandparents may go into this kind of position. So that's why you have to notice your grandparents to be careful about this possibility. So, in order to prevent their uh, health and the wealth as well. So, some technical support scams may also happen, my dear friends. Let's check this one as well. Here you see false computer problems may happen. So in the which way the scam happens, scammers claim victim's computer has a virus or security issue, offering to fix it for a free or requesting remote access. So methods happens, pop-up warnings on the website, unsolicited phone calls, and fake antivirus software. So dangerous here is the payment or unnecessary services, installation of the actual malware, and theft of personal information, and remote access to the computer and the files may happen because of this scamming or scheming, let's say. So you need to be careful about this. Okay, we all are all using the computers, and we are very suspect to do this kind of victimization. So another way of is the account takeover fraud. Unauthorized access may happen. Here the definition is account takeover fraud occurs when criminals gain unpermitted access to someone's financial accounts. Here the methods are stolen password from data breaches, and the phishing attacks may happen. Social engineering may happen. Malware key loggers may happen. SIM swapping may happen. So what are the consequences here? Unauthorized transactions may happen. Change account information. New accounts may open, and the credit damage may happen when it is account takeover fraud. Okay, so when they have the access to your financial information, financial accounts, then they become able to legitimately receive your account informations, and they have opportunity to get in access to your accounts and do the same misleading way of the transactions. So there's another way. It is called authorized push payment fraud, tricked into sending money. Here the fraudsters convince victims to authorize payments to accounts controlled by the criminals, believing the payment is legitimate. So what is the common scenario here? Fake invoice scams, impersonation of the businesses, and the romance scams, and investment fraud, and purchase scams may happen. So here the challenge is victim authorizes the payments, making recovery difficult. So what else we have? Money mule operations, unwitting accomplices may happen. So money mules is transfer illegally obtained money on behalf of the criminals, often unknowingly. How people become mules? Job offers for payment processors, romance scam victims helping partners, students recruiting with promises of easy money, and 23% of increase in student money moves, and legal risk. Money moves can face criminal charges even if unaware of the illegal activity. So here is the risk is that there is a dirty money, and the the scammers here tries to make the transfer of the dirty money. It tries to clear those dirty monies by using the innocent people. So those innocent peoples are treated as like the moose. So that's why if any money received in your account unexpectedly, if someone asks you to make a transfer of a definite amount of money, which is given to you cash, which way you make it in online transfer, then you have to be careful because, for example, the money, okay, you may think that this is the money, I got it. But where you sent the money may be problematic, maybe under the track of the officials. So as you are the ones makes the transfer to that account which is suspicious accounts, then you become suspicious as well. So that's why you have to be careful to where you are sending the money. So in some cases, for example, you may buy from this is very common. This may happen very innocent way. For example, you buy a good a service from a definite person, from a definite company, but that person or that company asks you to send the money to another account different than their own account, then you have to be very careful because those people may try to cheat you to provide transfer of the money to a source which is criminal source. So then you fall into a big risk. Or, for example, even it is not a criminal condition, imagine you bought a service, we bought a good, but you need to make your payment to the one who provided the service, that good to you. So if you don't provide that money to that person, if you provide money to another person, another company, different than the one which where you got the service or the good, then the company who provides that good, the service to you, may open a case against you as like you didn't make the payment. They may re-ask the payment to be done to themselves. So then you may be cheated this way, and then you may be asked to pay another time to fulfill your obligation. Because in fact, you already fulfilled your obligation, but as you sent the money, different than the person, different than the company from where you got the service and the good, then the opportunity become able to the fraudulent people to re-ask you again to make the money. So the cryptocurrency scammings may also happen, so they are becoming very popular in this digitalized world. What are the common types? There are fake cryptocurrency exchanges. There is Ponzi scams promising crypto returns. There is fake initial coin offerings. There is phishing for wallet credentials. There is Roman scams requesting crypto payments. There is fake celebrity endorsements. And why crypto is targeted here? There is irreversible transactions. There is limited regulations. There is anonymity features. There is complexity of the Confucius, my dear friends, Confucius victims. So as the cryptocurrency world is provides more opportunity to hide the identities of the people, then it is becoming more, how to say, becoming more available for the fraudulent people who wants to cheat the others. So that's why it needs another care, another way of the care. So card not present fraud is another way. As you see, there are lots of fraud ways. I'm trying to share them with you one by one. Maybe you get bored about it, but okay. But let's have some more patience. So when we finish all this, then we can finish the today's course as well. Okay, let's check the card not present fraud. Here, the fraudsters conduct transactions without possessing the physical credit card, using stolen card information for online or phone purchases. Expect to comprise 25% of the credit card fraud in 2024, my dear friends. So, prevention measures, CVV codes, address verification, two-factor authentication, fraud monitoring system, tokenization are the measures taken to prevent these online transaction fraud or card not present fraud. So as you see, 75% of credit card fraud was down in this way in 2024. So there is technical fraud methods. Injection attacks may happen. It is a kind of technical fraud methods. Fraudsters here inject false biometric data or information into authentication system to gain authorized access. Here the examples are the recreating fingerprints with gel, deepfake videos or facial recognition, voice synthesis for voice authentication, and manipulating authentication data streams. Here the defense advanced liveness detection technology, my dear friends. So the examples are recreating fingerprints with gel, deepfake videos for facial recognition, voice synthesis for voice authentication, and manipulating authentication data stream may happen here in this. Yes. So as you can imagine, it is not an easy task to give a lecture for a long time without. If you join ourselves, it may be easier for me, but this way it's happening not so easy. Okay, as we have less topics for this week, I don't want to give another break. So another break may take us another half hour or 20 minutes or 15 minutes. So it may be better this way to make it longer and finishing it earlier. Okay. So which way we can prevent these scammings? So the education and the awareness. Knowledge is power, my friends. There are the key actions we should take. We should stay informed about the current scam tactics. Okay, I try to give you a definite scam tactics. So the other scamming tactics will most probably be similar with these ones. So as if you have a good awareness, thanks to these course, then you will be more or stronger against the risk, against the attacks against yourself. So you should understand the common red flags. You should share information with family and the friends. So, for example, when you have become suspicious about any situation, you should share the information with your friends and the family. For example, if you are working in an organization like me, if some phishing or some attacks happens to you through the systems, through the computer you use, you should also inform your friends and also the IT departments, information technologies departments of your organization as well. So you should attend financial literacy programs as you attend this course. You should follow trusted sources for fraud alerts. So resources are there: Federal Trade Commission, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. These are the FBI Internet Crime Compliance Centers. These are for the US people, but here in Turkey, we have also similar sources to be able to improve our awareness. And there are some prevention strategies at the second stage. We protect personal information. You should guard your data. You should do best practices. Never share passwords with or the pins with the others. Use strong, unique passwords for each account. You should enable two-factor authentication. Shred sensitive documents. Monitor credit reports regularly, and limit information shares on social media. You should be cautious with public Wi-Fi, and you should verify a request for personal information. So these are the best practices. Let's obviously review them by yourself in order to increase your awareness, my dear friends. You should never share passwords or the pins. You should use strong, unique password for each account. You should enable two-factor authentication. You should shred sensitive documents. You should monitor credit reports regularly. You should limit information shred on social media. In social media, you shouldn't share all your information, personal information. As for example, your mom's, how do you say, ex surname, let's say, shouldn't be known by the others. So these are the risks in any way. As much as information the scammers collect about you, that much opportunity they got to scheme you. So to, how to say, fraudulent, to make a fraudulent against of you. So at the prevention strategy, at the third level, you should verify before your trust, due diligence, always verify investment opportunities with regulators, caller identity through known contact information. You should have a website legitimacy. You should check URLs carefully. So business license and the registrations should be checked, confirmed. Professional credentials should be confirmed. Email and sender addresses should be confirmed. Unexpected requests for money or information should be checked or rejected. If the money is not dedicated to you, is not sent to you in real, then you have to call your bank. You should say that this is an amount money. I got it in my account, but I don't know the sender. I don't know why it was sent to me. So that's why, you know why I'm notice you in this way. You should also remember, legitimized organization will not pressure you or demand immediate action from you when a legitimate organization is. So a legitimate organization, a professional organization, a real organization, do the things right on the time, not the last time. They do not urge you, provide the stress on you to do the things in a faster way. So secure your accounts. Account protection should also be provided. What are the security measures for the account protection? Use multi-factor authentication, set up account alerts for transactions, review statements regularly, use secure payment methods, keep software and the applications updated, use reputable antivirus software, create strong passwords such as 12 plus characters, mixed types can be used. Use password managers also may be helpful for the secure accounts, my dear friends. So recognize red flags, warning signs of the fraud. What are the common red flags? Request for immediate action or payment. This is a red flag. Needs to be cared about. You shouldn't cheat. You should be careful when someone requests for immediate action or payment. And also, pressure to keep transactions secret needs extra care. Requests for unusual payment methods such as gift card, wire transfer, cryptocurrencies needs extra care. Too good to be true offers needs extra care. Unsolicited contract needs extra care. Request for remote computer access needs extra care. Spelling and grammar errors in the communications needs extra care. Mismatch or suspicious URLs needs extra care. So uh, these are the main red flags or the signs, warning signs when you need to apply extra cares. So safe payment practices. Which way can be the safe payment practices? Here, for the safe payment practice, use credit cards for online purchases, better fraud protection. Avoid wire transfer to unknown parties. Be cautious with the P2P payments, person to payments applications. Never pay with gift cards for bills or government fees. Verify recipient before sending money. Keep receipts and the transaction records. Report suspicious transactions immediately. For the safe payment practices, you have to do this. And also, my dear friends, there is need for the investment due diligence. It means protecting your investment before investing. So before making an investment, you have to make an evaluation. You have to make an analysis. Let's call this analysis process as like due diligence. So what you should do, you should verify the registration with Securities Exchange Commission or the state regulators. So in Turkey, instead of the Securities Exchange Commission, we have Capital Market Board, SPK, Sermaye Piyasası Kurulu. So when you make a transaction, when you use how do you say, intermediary, a bank, an intermediary institution, you should be sure that that intermediary institution is registered by the Security Exchange Commission in USA and Capital Market Board in Turkey. If you are working in Turkey, okay, the capital market. If you are a person in USA, okay, Security Exchange Commission. Or if you are in another country or member or citizen of another country, then you have to consider the registration of your own country. So check the advisor credentials. Advisor credentials. So, for example, the advisors, portfolio managers should have a credential in every modern developed country. So, okay, this credential provided by the Security Exchange Commission in USA. In Turkey, they are provided by the Capital Market Board. So, understanding the investment completely is necessary. Get everything in writing. Be skeptical of guaranteed returns. Research the company truly and consult independent financial advisor. Never invest based on pressure, my dear friends. Okay, what else we have? Digital security, online safety is necessary. Cybersecurity best practices needed. You should keep devices and software updated. You should use secure encrypted connections. You should enable firewall protection. Backup important data regularly. You should be cautious with email attachments. You should verify application authenticity before downloading them. use virtual private networks, VPNs on public Wi-Fi. So this is discussable using virtual private networks, the VPNs on public Wi-Fi. So VPN by itself may be also risky, my difference, because they may steal your credentials, your information. That's why I don't suggest to use VPN. No VPN. No, never ever. Log out of accounts when finished. So, okay, for example, you entered your bank account. Okay, you did what you want to do. When you finish your work there, then you should log out from that platform. If you keep on log in, so then, for example, you are logged in, and meanwhile, a Trojan, this may work, and or your computer may get some virus, and then that virus or that harmful software may steal your information or may do some false transaction as your account is open. Okay, the bank's accounts, bank platforms don't keep you online without any interaction for a longer time. For example, if you don't do any interaction in your account for about maybe 5 minutes, then they immediately close down your screen, or which way makes you log off, makes you log out. Okay, the government oversight and is important, and there are key regulatory bodies: Securities and Exchange Commission in USA, Federal Trade Commission, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, State Securities Regulations, Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Okay, they are all available in USA, but each country has similar kind of institutions for their own people. What are the enforcement actions, role of the regulations? Okay, criminal prosecution, civil law lawsuits, monetary penalties and the fines, restitutions to victims, injunctions and the case and the desist orders, and license revocation and industry bans may be provided by these legitimate actions. As being the innocent people, we have some responsibilities also. So we should also fulfill our responsibilities. We shouldn't expect the protection from the government, from the other institutions. So we needed to be aware, and we needed to, we are expected to pay an effort to protect ourselves. So that's why there's know your customer procedures. Suspicious activity reports should be given, currency transaction reports, customer due diligence, enhanced monitoring systems. So some of them are the institution-based. Some institutions, for example, if you are a bank, you should know your customer. You shouldn't give opportunity to the people who are not your customer to make the transaction and etc. You should be knowledge or aware that your customer is fraudulent or not. You should be suspicious about the activities. Okay, everyone, the institutions and ourselves as an individual level should be suspicious also. So we should check the reports, and these reports should be provided by the financial institutions as well. So, and as I said to you, we shouldn't expect the protection from the second parties. We should do our protection to some extent by ourselves as well. So we need to empower the individuals here. Which way we empower the individuals? Education matters. Fraud tactics constantly evolve. Prevention is more effective than the recovery. So when we know about the fraud tactics, when we have the knowledge about it, when we always refresh our knowledge with the new tactics, then we will become more able to prevent. So when we prevent something, it's better, it's easier than the recovery. So we informed consumers make better decisions, my friends, reduce victimization rates, protects vulnerable populations, strengthens overall financial system, and target audiences are here the young adults and the students, senior citizens, small business owners, and immigrant communities, my dear friends. So, what are the recovery steps? Immediately, if you are a victim, then what are the immediate actions? You should contact your financial institution immediately. You should place a fraud alerts on the credit reports. You should change password and the pins. You should file a police report. You should report to the relevant federal agencies or the police department in which country you are living. Document all communications and the transactions. You should monitor accounts closely. You should consider credit freeze. So here is the important things. Act quickly to minimize damage and improve recovery chances. So here there is another section about building financial resilience. There is need for long-term protection. What is the strategies for the long-term protection? You should maintain an emergency savings, diversify investments. You shouldn't maybe utilize all your savings into one account. You may use more than one account in different banks, in different intermediary institutions, and by this way, you can, how to say, decrease the risk. For example, if you keep all your savings in one account, and when that account is breached by the theft stealers, then you may lose all your wealth. So instead of this risk, you can share it with different accounts. So the regular financial services reviews should happen. You should stay educated on fraud trends. You should build strong support network. You should maintain good credit practices. You should keep detailed financial records. You should work with trusted professionals. So here is the goal: create multiple layers of the protection against fraud, my dear friends. So as a conclusion and the key takeaways, to protect yourself and the others, remember, fraud is constantly evolving and stay informed. Prevention is your best defense, and verify before your trust. Protect your personal information. Use secure payment methods. Report suspicious activities. And education empowers protection. You should know this as well. You have rights and resources. And the final thought is that financial fraud awareness is not just about protecting yourself, it is about creating a safer financial environment for everyone. So if you, when you protect yourself, when you inform the fraudulent actions to the officials, when you make a reaction, then those people, those bad people, will have less chance to cheat the others. So this will help to the safer financial environment, and this safer financial environment is needed for our communities. It is necessary for all our financial system and our common financial wealth as well. Okay, in this week, the topics was this much, and we can finish here. So before finishing this week's presentation, I'm asking you, do you have any question? Okay, thank you, Ömer Faruk. Uh, Thank you, Alsanur. Thank you, Malik. Take care of yourself. See you next week. Meanwhile, if you need to talk to me, I'm in Sütlüce campus, in third floor, in B block, in B 310, B 310 room number. See you. Take care.